Hello and good morning. I'm just checking what the time is then, thinking, gosh, have we slipped into the afternoon, even though I pre-warned you I would be here live at 11. Welcome, welcome if you are joining. I'm just going to check that I'm live in the right place. So just bear with me 1 second. Whether anybody will have seen my last minute mention that I will be here. Hopefully somebody will drop in at some point. So yeah, last minute live this morning. Didn't know I was going to be going live until sort of first thing this morning. Then I was trying to figure out when I was going to go live, trying to squeeze and fit everything in for my day. So I thought 11 o'clock would be good. School run is done, so hopefully we'll have some joiners this morning. So today I'd prepared something. I've had the Around the Bend dies arrive with me, and I'd been playing with it for, well, my first play with it, as usual, that's what happens here on my live. My first play with product, generally you see my first creation with it. So I thought I'd pre-planned something ready for when I was next going to have the opportunity to go live. So that's what I'm going to do with you today. This always happens because it's been sat on my desk for a couple of weeks. Now I look at it and I'm not actually sure if I love what I've done, but hopefully you will gain something from it. If you're not keen on the colours, you can always switch those out and kind of go from there with the inspirations. So let me point you down to my desk. There's nobody hopping on at present. I can see a couple of you have liked my post. So I'm going to put you down on my desk. I've got a few things to show you before I start creating, and I'm not going to be on here too long. I've got a very busy day ahead. I need to cram as much in as possible, and I've just realised I've got a really dry throat and I haven't brought my drink over, but there we go. So good morning, Lucy Ann. How are you doing? Long time no speak. Kind of. It feels like a long time. It always feels like a long time since I was here live, because they are few and far between at the moment. So let's get you down onto my desk. Excuse the palm of the hand. Move everything out of the way. Jiggle, oh gosh, jiggle everything about. It's a bit of a mess down there at the moment. Let's get some light on the subject. Using my memory bank for light today. I think that's going to work. Yeah, thought I was going to have some major issues today with, let's just straighten that, with my MacBook. Basically, we've had some rain throughout the night, as those of you that were local will know about. And last night, excuse the mess on my desk, but I will go through that in a second. Last night I came over here for half an hour, literally, to start a bit of designing for my team event on Thursday, because I've been away, and I'll talk about that as well. And I came over and it was getting late. It was like 9:30. It wasn't over here for long. And then I heard Jason come out of the house, so I locked up the studio, locked up the workshop, had my MacBook in my hand, which had my catalogue on the top and a pile of order forms and paperwork. Locked the door and then thought, oh, I'll walk around the garden with him, with Alfie, go and shut up my greenhouse, blah de blah, put my MacBook down on the bench under the pergola, and then didn't even think about it, totally forgot about it. Came down this morning, out the door at 7, watched Jason out the gate because he came home in the big camper last night to unload his racing car. Watched him out the gate, thought, oh, I'll just move some of those garden toys around the corner, out of sight. As I walked past the bench, there was my MacBook sat on the bench, soaking wet with, thank goodness, the catalogue was on top of my MacBook and a pile of orders and order forms on a clipboard. And the rain, I mean, we've had some heavy rain overnight, and early hours it rained non-stop. And my MacBook does have a cover on it as well, like a plastic like cover. So I had a real panic. I carried it carefully into the house, I kept it flat, and then just sat it down on a tea towel to absorb, dried it off. I've taken the cover off this morning because it was like wet underneath, and some of the wet had got into like the base cover, like and the bottom bit, not the screen bit. And then I turned it on and it did switch on. And so I shut it back down, so I leave it for a couple of hours to sort itself out, and then brought it over here. And then when I went to switch it on, it didn't do anything, and I had a real panic moment that I'd lost my MacBook. But 5 minutes ago, I thought I'd just run over to the house and grab an iPad so that I can see what I'm creating. Opened up the lid and pressed like the on-off button, and then after like about a minute, it came to life. So I am using it at the moment. So I am very thankful that it still appears to be working. So because yeah, that's an expensive mistake to make, but that's just how my head is at the moment. Totally forgot that I put it down, left it on the bench. Right, a couple of things to talk to you about. I've already spoken to you about this. We have a starter kit promotion running the whole of June, and we're more than halfway. Now we're 2/3 of the way through, so £154 worth of product for just £99 when you join my team. So excuse the dodgy printout, obviously printed it in draft mode. I'll put that to one side. We also have our design series paper sale, and I've got a couple of my favourites here with a project just to show you on how you could use one of them. We've got 15% off, that's till the end of the month as well. And starting from tomorrow, hello Jill, how are you doing? Nice to have you here. From this evening at 11 p.m. for 24 hours only, we have free shipping on orders over £60. So definitely don't miss on that. Don't miss out on that. Don't miss out on the free shipping with the 15% off the pattern papers. I have got, was supposed to put an order through at the weekend and it didn't happen. And since I've got home, because I've been away, but I'll talk to you about that as I said, I just haven't had a chance to get it through. So I'm going to be holding my order until first thing in the morning. So if there's anything that you want, please do let me know. But going on from that paper sale, I've just pulled out my two favourites. And this is it Corner Countryside Inn? I want to say Countryside Corners, it's Countryside Inn. I've used this a lot. That's the only piece. This is my favourite sheet. That's the only, I've got a couple of strips left of this one. But this is just such a lovely set of papers. The beautiful prints in here. Such lovely colours. Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy. That's very Coastal Cabana, that colour in there. Let's just flick through. I haven't got all of the sheets maybe because I've been using it. Rabbits, birds, lovely plain prints. Fox, how lovely are they? Trees, beautiful papers. Let's just put those back in and remind ourselves. Balmy blue, boho blue, misty moonlight, night of navy. I think that will team with a bit of Coastal Cabana though. It says it's balmy, but I think that colour in there would work nicely with that. And then the other pack, which is just genius. Good morning, Renee. How are you doing? I need to sort my grid paper out as well. Let's give it a little squidge over there. Is the Zoo Crew. That's right, I have to check the name. Because this one, although we've got lots of black and white prints on the reverse, we've got all of these lovely patterns with black and white, but then we've got all the creatures that you can just fussy cut, or if you've got the dies, some of them work with the dies, got all these fabulous images that you're going to be able to create projects from without having to do any colouring. Just cut around them. As I said, some of them have got dies that work with them. But alongside that, I created this, was for a Facebook Live, which I haven't got to yet, but I've started on it. Not quite finished, but I've done this little box and some mini cards, but I actually use the stamps. Let me grab the stamps so you can see which images there are here. We've got quite a few creatures on there that you can colour in, which I've done here. I've just stamped these in Memento and then coloured in with my blends, but these are just some mini cards that could go inside a box. I've got to add some more bling to that and maybe put something else on the front. There is something else inside there, but I'll save that for another day. But you could use these papers just to simply cut out, if you haven't got the stamps, just the papers on their own, and just cut out the images and stick them on some projects. Amazing pack of paper, and as I said, 15% off. Excuse me, throat is still dodgy. Right, are we straight with the grid? Almost. Let's give it another turn and then we'll stick it down. Good morning, Claire. I am all good, thank you. Slightly exhausted from, we've been away racing at the weekend. Well, we went away on Wednesday, which I have to say, it's been lovely to be away. I love everybody. I love my family, and I will be honest, I kind of didn't want to go. I hate going away. I'm always fine once I'm away, but the thought of going away kind of just fills me with anxiety and just worry about everything I'm leaving behind. But usually once I'm away, I'm fine. But we went on a trip to Zandvoort, which is in the Netherlands, and Jason was racing there at the Grand Prix track. So we had a lovely long weekend away. Let's go with what I'm using. I haven't shared it with you this morning. So yeah, we had a fabulous time. The weather was amazing. Last day, Sunday, was a little bit overcast, but yeah, it was brilliant. The track, I've been there before, but the track is 5 minutes from the beach. So Jason put my push bike in. He's got one of these electric scooters, so we did go 2 up on that, a few places. We went out for dinner one night, and I didn't want to ride my bike because I had like wide leg trousers on, and I was worried that I was going to get caught in the bike and the pedals. So we went 2-man up on his scooter down to the beach to a bar. But yeah, it was just so lovely to be away. I am always thankful to be back home though. Love being at home. So circle sayings coordinates with the 2 3/8 circle punch. Okay, a fabulous combination. I haven't written how much that one is on there, but let's have a look. Needless to say, after my accident, my catalogue is drying over in the house, along with about 20 order forms that I've spread around my ensuite in the bath. I'm trying to look for this. Page 17. It's spread around trying to dry all of my order forms. So here it is, page 17 of the annual catalogue. So it means I'm going to have to get myself a brand new catalogue and go in and mark all of my ink colours and my refills again, but that's fine. So bundle is just £39.50. Stamps on their own are 23. So a lovely combination. So what else are we using? I'm using these standalone. There is a stamp set that coordinates with them. They're not on a bundle anymore. They used to be on a bundle. But they're just such a lovely standalone set of dies. I'm going to be using those. Oops, I'm also using my new exposed brick embossing folder. The code there, if you're not sure which one it is, but it's beautiful, so I'm going to be using that. I've just got one ink pad. I've got 3 colours going on, but I'm just using Lost Lagoon for my stamping. And then I think I showed you these last time, but these are the iridescent rhinestones basic jewels. So sometimes they look pink, sometimes they look kind of bluey green. So using those as well. Let's put all of those back in. Definitely still got a dodgy throat, so please do bear with me. Right, let's see what we've got. So got lots of pieces for die cutting. So I've got Pool Party, Bubble Bath, Soft Sea Foam, and Old Olive. A lovely kind of sorbet-ish colour. I've got this piece here that I've cut the corner off. That's to remind me that I'll be using this one with my punch, so I need to stamp on that one there. So let's do some stamping first. Always like to fold my paper away, my base away, put it, oh dear, my words. Fold my base in half and then put it away to one side so that I know that's done. So the circle sayings are a photopolymer set, so it's recommended that we use a spongy foam mat when stamping with it, just to get a better, crisper image. So how are we all doing? What have you been up to? How was your weekend? So I'm still catching up because we drove to Zandvoort. Well, I say we. That's when I say we. Most of the time, it's the royal we. I mean Jason. So he drove us to Zandvoort. His cousin drove in his dad's motorhome and transported the cars. And I'm going to punch that one out. And we went by ferry. So we drove to Dover and then hopped on a ferry. As I said, we went on Wednesday morning. Dover is about 3.5 hours from here without traffic. So, but when we came back, Jason's last race, I should say Jason's last race, it was a bit of a disastrous weekend as far as racing goes, because Jason had car issues. And he did go out and was able to qualify, but during his first race on the Saturday, he had problems with the gears and had to pull in, and then spent the whole of the rest of the day into the evening repairing the gears to realise there was a crack in the block, whatever that is. I am not mechanically minded at all, but there was a crack in some part of the engine which was vital, and they thought they'd repaired it but left it till the last minute. They have to warm up these cars. These are historic cars that they race, and they have to warm them up about an hour before the race. Jason has explained to me all the ins and outs, but it kind of goes right over the top of my head sometimes. And basically, when he started the engine, the oil started coming out, so it didn't work. So he could not race at all. He had to watch his cousin race. So he finished second, which was good. So I've taken the happy birthday from the same set. Okay, so we've got a happy birthday, we've got some really nice greetings here. And I've just added that on to my circle. And I'm just going to sit that to one side. So yeah, so anyway, Jason's race finished at, I don't know, 4:30, something like that, or 4:15 his race was started, and it's a 25-minute race. So by the time that they came in, we loaded up the cars and got going. It was like a dash to get to Calais to try and catch the 10:30 ferry. And then we got there, managed to get on it, thank goodness, but it's about an hour and 45 minutes crossing, which was fine. But when we came back, we got off of the boat at like midnight on Sunday night, and then we drove for an hour and then stopped and slept, and then got up in the morning and then carried on our journey yesterday morning. So we got home about lunchtime yesterday. So yeah, it wasn't the best night's sleep. So I'm a bit tired today. But that's nothing unusual for me. You will all know. Right, I've got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock here, and I'm going to give you some measurements. Not that this will be detrimental, but I've cut them both at 3.5 inches wide. The depth isn't detrimental, as you will see in a moment. But what I want to do is take my dies, and you can see we've got some lovely like edge dies here. I haven't even used this one yet, but I want to use this lovely scallop edge, and it's kind of like on a wave, as you can see. It's not a curve, it's got kind of two curves in it. So what I want to do is just cut the bottom of one of these pieces. Well, I'm going to cut them both. I'm going to do them individually. Let's get some washi. I'll do them individually, but I want them to line up with each other. So I want them to match. So we'll have it just so it's touching the bottom. I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. Pop that over the top and just run that through really quickly. That piece of scrap paper over the top will just protect this part of my white paper and ensure that adhesive doesn't get all over it from the plate. Where I use washi tape, I seem to get a lot of like grubby marks where the adhesive comes off and it sticks on the plate. Okay, then next I want to do exactly the same on this piece. Okay, so that's the one I've just cut. I've got another piece the same size. I'm just going to hover it over so it's square, and I want to put that back in its place like that. So I'm following the line of the cut. I'm going to hold the die in place, take that top one out, and just take that. Let's do that again. A bit more board. Line that up. Doesn't have to be exact, but I just want the same edges. Right, let's try not to move that this time. And I'm going to run that through again. Run that through. Fresh piece of washi tape, so I don't want to pull that off. Pop that one back on my magnet sheet so that it's safe. And then we should have two pieces that kind of line up, not identically, but almost as good as. I'm going to set those to one side. Now I've cut another piece of soft seafoam at the same width, so it's at 3.5 inches wide. And what I want to do with that one, I'll roll this back over. I really should change this bottom plate, it doesn't help things. I want to cut this, look at this beautiful like curved edge of foliage. I want to cut just this section at the bottom. Didn't need quite as much of that. But I'm going to put it in that way. Take it on, and I'll just run that through quickly. This one's really pretty. Really pretty. No pieces left behind, which is good. It cuts beautifully. How lovely is that? And you even get this embossing on the leaves as well. Then those bits actually. Do I need those? I might need them later. Then I need some flowers. So we've got this large flower. I'm going to do some flowers in bubble wrap. And I love this trio of flowers as well. And some pool party leaves. One of those. And maybe one of those. You can hear the birds singing away. So there is a little glimpse of blue sky trying to come as well. Right, I'm going to put all those through together just like that. Without moving them, she says. Yeah, I can see a little bit of blue sky coming. So the forecast said heavy rains from early hours that was hopefully going to brighten up, so which it looks like it's trying to do out there. And I don't love the rain, don't get me wrong, but I think the garden and the farmers will be thankful for that downpour that we had, because the ground definitely needs it. All of those guys back. I think that's, oh, I know what I need. There's something else. Look at how it embosses these. It's beautiful. Lovely foliage as well, which also is embossed. A very usable set. Right, I'm just going to run through. In this set you get also this flower centre. So I just need one of those. We'll run that through. Of that flower. I think that's all I need. I think we can start putting together. Okay, so I've got a layer of old olive which measures 3 3/4 by 5 3/8 with a matting layer just a smidge shorter at 3 5/8 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to mount those two together. Okay. So I was thinking maybe I'll go live this evening, and then I thought I could go belly up with children and bedtime and things like that. So I thought I'll get it done. Get it done now. You know when you've got like a huge list of things that you want to achieve within a certain time frame, and then your head gets in a spin because you're really not sure how to prioritise and what you need to do first. That was me this morning. Right. What my aim is with this is I want to stick this on here like so. I'm going to have to chop a bit off. So it's I want it at that kind of angle. I want the curve to follow the dots down there. So you can see I'm going to have to trim that bit off, and it won't look square from behind, but that really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to pop a bit of Tombow on there. Just follow that curve. Like that. Oops. Wibble wobble. You all know we love that about our Tombow. Bit of wiggle room. So from the back, it's cut. That's just the way that this is. The curve is angled. And then I'm going to mount that onto this piece. So these two white pieces will just line up each other, and then I can trim off any excess. Now, how much do I want hanging through the bottom? That is the question. That's probably enough. Probably like that, just so we've got a bit of white showing through. So let's just run a bit of Tombow, do it by eye, and hope that it's square. Probably easier going from the back to see if it's landing. And then I think I'm just going to pop that in my trimmer just to trim off that edge piece and that slight overhang on the other side. And then we know it's all square. So we end up with this panel, double scallop panel with a little bit of foliage in between. And then I'm going to lay that straight down onto there, but let's put this on my card first. So who is loving the new bubble bath, this new pink? It is, to me it is subtle, but it is kind of quite vibrant, which kind of, it's a very big contradiction there, isn't it? It's subtle, but it's vibrant. You know, it's not like, does anybody remember Pink Pirouette, which was, I would say, just a much paler shade of this. Got a mark on there, but I think that'll be covered. But yeah, it's lovely. I'm loving it with the pool party and the Lost Lagoon. Right, next I'm going to pop this layer up here. I'm hoping I've left enough room to add everything on that I want to. Pop that out in a nice even border all the way around. These dies, this set of dies, they're just going to be so useful. You're going to find so many ways of using them. Just a bit of adhesive. Then build. Got glue everywhere today. I'm going to build up. It's really throwing me because my excuse me, grid paper excuse me, is crooked on my desk, and I keep wanting to make it straight. The OCD in me likes things to be straight. But obviously it's taped down for a good reason. A little bit of ink or something on there, but just add a dimensional to the back of here. That is annoying. Can you see that little dot on there? Don't know what it is. It's like in the cardstock. I'm going to have to do another. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry, but it's got to be done. It'll take me 2 seconds, maybe 5. Otherwise, I'll be forever looking at it. Like, why didn't I change that? That one's better. Dimensional on the back. Lay that one. Going to go down with that foliage. Then we've got these sweet flowers. I just want 2 of these. To just push out those little bits. Just because they annoy me. They look quite nice when they're left in there. If you can get them to stay in there and then pop a glue dot under, they do look quite pretty. So we're just going to add in a glue dot on the back of there. I just find the glue dot with these, because they are kind of holy on the centre, it just saves Tombow sort of squidging out everywhere. These two, actually I might put the foliage down first. And scissors. I've used a different one than on my original, but let's just pop this one on. A bit of Tombow. Oh, of course. Had to, didn't it? Just where I didn't want it. Just scrape that bit of Tombow off. And then got drops. This other cute little leaf. So never think that foliage has to be green. I mean, blue is quite random, but so I've just popped on the foliage. It's because of the glue dot, it's hard to slide in the leaves underneath. So normally when I use Tombow, I nearly always put my foliage in after. But when you've got the glue dot there, it's just hard to push anything in. So to finish on that, I'm going to add some of these rhinestone jewels. Medium. As I said, they look pink in some light and kind of blue in another light. Dimensionals on the back. Put that one over to the right hand side slightly. Try and get the tin level. And then to finish, I'm just going to put another flower down here. Back. Just to balance it out. Just pop a dimensional on there. Slide that one in. Like that. And then we're going to call that done. So kind of soft sorbet-ish sort of colours, just pretty. Wanted to use my new dies, but of course I'm loving the circle sayings as well. Such a great set and really good value as well. At what did I say? £39.50. Let's find it. It was on page 16, 17. Yeah, £39.50 for the stamps and the punch together. So, and there's so much inspiration with this as well. I've seen loads of things going with it. So, right, following on from this one is my original, pretty much the same. Could have done different levels, different heights on the white panels to have brought it down. I've been playing with this one again this morning, this design, and doing something similar-ish for my team. I've just switched it out a little bit, changed some colours as well. So let's move on with the other project I've got to go with that. So this time I'm going to be doing a little bit of embossing. I'm going to be embossing that layer. And I've got a bit more die cutting to do. So same colours. Let's emboss this one. You know when you can't find something and it's right under your nose, just staring at it. I was looking for the folder and couldn't see it. So I'm just going to run that through. So pretty. I've not seen this one in real life. Really pretty. It's a good all-rounder as well, so it'll work for kind of masculine, feminine cards, and kind of any occasion. It's one of those ones that you'll find you'll just gravitate to. So I've cut a piece of, you'll notice I've got a Glassine back here as well, so this is going to be my envelope for my card, because as lovely as an envelope is, I think if you're packaging a card somehow, it makes it feel more of a gift, especially if you're just like putting a gift card in or some money or a voucher. If you're packaging the card, it just makes it feel so much more than it actually is. So I've got a piece, I mean obviously it depends on the size of your Glassine bag, but this is probably pretty much like a standard card size one. It measures 4.5. Where's my big ruler? It's 6 and something, I think. 6 3/8. So my soft sea foam measures 3 3¾ by 5 5/8, and then I've just taken off 1/4 inch. So we've got 3.5 by 5 3/8. Sorry. So I can mount those two up together. It's actually lovely from the reverse as well. So, oh, thank you, Jill. You liking my pale colours? I know they're not for everybody, and believe me, I do try hard to use a lot of colour. These that I was showing you earlier, they're quite, Lemon Lolly is quite bright for me. No, it's not a bright, but it's quite a strong colour for me to use. I love just lots of white space with little bits of colour thrown in. I'm very feeble, aren't I? Right, that is die cutting. Let's stamp something, and then we can do some more die cutting. So, that's just adhesive on there. I'm going to pull back out my Lost Lagoon ink, and this time I thought I would go with this Celebrate Circle Greeting, just because it's different from the other one. And celebrate goes with anything, doesn't it? Any occasion. You can add to that as well. I quite often feel like I have a feeble approach to colour, and Vivi will confirm that. So I'm going to line that in. Vivi loves colour and glitter and sparkle. She's a typical girl. Loves to wear a dress, especially like the tulle ones, you know, floaty, anything rainbow. And she'll tell you if she doesn't like something as well, if it's not very colourful, even down to her underwear. She's like, I don't want to wear those, they're not very colourful. We're kind of like totally the opposite. Okay, so we can put those to one side. Let's do a bit of die cutting. I've also pulled in, couldn't resist using these, you know I love these, the Countryside Corners dies. And I need those two, I think. Again, another standalone die set that you'll find you get lots of use out of. I'm just going to lift up those little dots because they will imprint. I'm just going to cut these two. Where my top plate gets bendy, it bends the dies. Put them at that angle and they'll run through a bit easier. Quick and simple to do. Put them back on the sheet. Then, while we're cutting, let's cut out the other bits. Don't know if that will be big enough. We'll see. So I want some of this one again. Look at these cute hearts. How lovely are they? What do we need? A large flower. Might just get one out there. In the centre. And we want some more foliage. So that's it. And I think that will be good. Let's not chop the bottom off. Right, I'll just run that through. I will say I'm looking forward to Stampin' Up redeveloping our magnetic platform, because taping everything down can sometimes just be so time consuming. Got that lovely flower. There's that. Comes out nice and clean, that one. Away. Yeah, and I love as well, like these are just scrap pieces that are left. Even, you know, bits like this, you can cut some of the foliage from. So you know how much I hoard my scraps. You know, I have opened up to that. You've seen my envelopes full of scrappy pieces that are so small, but you can find a use for them, honestly. Right, let's layer up these two frames. So we've got old olive on the base and then a basic white one. We'll just do that for now. There's a nice even border. Then I want to add some foliage under here. So just need to figure out how much I want. Probably something like that. So I'm literally just going to snip off. I don't want to lose that little leaf there. Snip off those two pieces. And I think that will work nicely. Put a tombow on there. And I want to keep my Celebrate at the top. Snip that teeny little bit off there. And then I'm going to add more dimensionals because I'm not posting this. And this is like the pocket for our card to sit inside. So I anticipate hand delivering. Although it could be packaged up and in a box, it's not going to be too deep. It just go as a large letter, so not too expensive to post. And we'll just pop that one central-ish, top and bottom. And I'm looking at those two dots here, lining those up square, straight, as straight as possible. A bit over, but it'll be okay. And then we're going to mount it onto here, and I'm going to add yet another layer of dimensionals. Because I can. You know, I just love depth. I love depth. I love texture. I love layers. I guess that's my style, isn't it? I'm not a very sweet and simple crafter, for sure. Which will, you know, some of you will love and some of you will hate, but that's the way it is. If we all like the same thing and we all did the same thing, it would be a very boring world, wouldn't it? Let's pop another. Dimensional in the centre. It's slightly oval this, so it kind of sits better one way on the centre. Just look at the texture that embossing has created whilst it's cut at the same time. Pop the flower just in the middle. Doesn't really matter which way it goes round. Dimensional in there. A bit more. This lovely panel. I'm not going to add any bling to that. So I've cut a strip of old olive cardstock. Just tidying up, always tidying up as I go. I've got my glassine bag. I'm going to take my card and pop that in to start with. Now my card is moving around in there slightly, but that's totally fine. And then I'm going to create just a belly band around here, but it's going to be fixed. I just want it to stay on the envelope. So literally the easiest way to get it to fit snugly is to lay down this strip, and I've taken the length of an A4 sheet and I've just cut it at 2 inches. And I'm going to line up, so I've lined up the old olive with a line on my grid paper. And I'm going to line up my glassine bag with a line on my grid paper. I'm going to take my ruler to the edge, bring this up, and kind of get my thumb under and just crease it around like that. Okay. And just reinforce that like that. And turn it round, line it all up again, make sure everything is kind of square. And we should just get a nice crisp, quite tight fold around it. So again, just kind of lift it and pull it in with your nail. Overlap it so that it's square. This is where you hope you've cut it straight. I've got a little bit of an overhang there, but I'm not going to worry about that. Right, we're going to put that on the front anyway. So I'm going to pop that back in. To bend the bag. That's going to be hidden, so glue on that end and glue on that end. wrap it over. And do it quite tight because on my crease in my bag slightly there, but that'll be alright. That's it. Flatten that down, wobbling the camera there. Now that one is a lot tighter than my original, so I'm not going to stick it down. And then I'm just going to add this straight over the top. So more Tombow here. Make sure it sticks. Of that square. Let's make sure that's roughly in the middle. Could be precise and roughly measure 2 1/8. Somewhere thereabouts. It's square. And just pop that over the top. So you're just looking for a nice even border. Not of the card underneath, but of the Glassine bag. Just let that dry for a minute. It's quite a bit of Tombow on there I put. And it will slide on and off, but it doesn't really need to because we're not like sealing the opening on this one. We've got our own opening, so this is just literally for looks. But I think on this one here I sealed it. Let's pop my card in. No, I'll leave the card out so you can see. But I think that just makes, it's just the card inside, but like I said, you could pop in some money in there or a gift card, and it's got some substance to it. It means that little bit more. So it's more of a special way of giving a card rather than just popping it in an envelope. Why does that now look crooked? It's just the belly band has moved. So I hope you've enjoyed my projects today. So wanted to share, wanted to play with the circle sayings. Of course, we've got the coordinating punch that goes with that. Didn't get to use any pattern paper today, even though I wanted you to see, you know, some DSP because of the sale that's going on, and of course to take advantage of that opportunity of getting the 15% off your papers when we've got free shipping as well. So I'm glad you like them. Thank you, Renee. Thank you for your lovely comments. What are we doing for time? 12 o'clock. So I've only been an hour. That's not too bad. Not too bad. That leaves me time to get a bit of work done. Got an appointment this afternoon. I need to see Sophie and Luca at some point because it feels like a million years ago. And have more cuddles with more children before the day's over. So there we go. Quick flash of the dies again because they are just so usable. Let's make a bit of space. But how lovely are they? As I said, they coordinate with the around the bend stamps, but as standalone dies, I think they're brilliant. You could do anything with them. Just let your imagination flow. So, right, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for joining me, those of you that have been here on the live. I also will just mention I've got a couple of my in-colour shares left. I've only got 2 left, I think. So you get the papers. Let's bring it in. You get the cardstocks in each colour. You get the treat bags, one of each colour. So these are lovely. You get half a pack of the in-coloured dots. You get a sheet of each of the patterns of the in-colour paper. And then you get a metre of the ribbons, which are here. They're just lovely. So I've got a couple of those shares left if anyone's interested. It's £15. If you want it posted, it will be extra. Probably just go as a second class large, but how lovely are those dots? So yeah, just to let you know. Right, I will be back with you as soon as I can, as soon as I am able. So I will try to give you notice. It is really difficult to plan anything ahead at the moment. because I'm just not sure where I'm at when I'm child free at present. So I hope to be back with you all very, very soon. But if you're catching me on the replay, please do say hi. And if you're catching me on YouTube, leave me a comment and I'll catch up with that at some point. So thanks for joining me. Please take care, everybody, and I'll speak with you soon. So bye for now.